everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode from the Lair. And I got a couple questions from some guys out there who wanted to know, some of the other stories that went on there in the 2nd Ranger Battalion and what I did on Fort Lewis. Well, when I was on Fort Lewis, after I got back from the MFO mission, I bought myself a 73 Camaro. Had a 383 overboard stroked, balanced and blueprinted engine. I had 202 heads, and I had an 1150 Holley Dominator carburetor. I had the transmission geared a little for the top end and had a high-rise manifold, so you got your most horsepower towards the 1/3 to 2/3 of your RPM range. Looking back on it, it was stupid fast. 0 to 6 feet under in 1 second fast. I mean, it was crazy. So on a lot of my spare time, I spent a lot, in the garage on Fort Lewis. You just turn in your ID card. They give you a ring with, I think, 10 or 15 tags on it for tools. And I spent a lot of my free time working on that car during the day. But during the night, I would take it out and drag race that motherfucker. Why I'm not dead, I have no idea. But I had a couple, actually quite a few real close calls with you're about to get knocked out of your meat suit kind of shit. And one of the crazy fucking things, and I think this is the first time I ever actually heard Evil Popp speak to me. In the impact area, when you go down, I don't know if it's still there, but back in the day, the impact area in Fort Lewis, there was a road that ran along the side of the impact area, which was, paved. It was fairly smooth back then. It did have a little bit of a roll to it, which could have be a little bit of a challenge, especially at top end, but it looked safe. There was really nobody around, no houses or other cars that you're gonna fuck up if you fuck your car up. So we used to go back there and drag race like quite a bit. And there was this one time that I know that I was, I had the car bare, the pedal to the metal. I mean, I could go no faster. I had just tuned it up that day. I was going beyond the rated speed of the tires. In fact, I had the speedometer buried and the needle was bouncing. I was doing somewhere north of 135, between 135 and 150. And when you overdrive the speed for which your tires are rated, that's a very bad thing. So, literally, I'd be driving the car, and the guys next to me, I'm racing, and we're actually getting airborne a little bit as we're going over those rolling hills, And the front end of my car started doing this weird shimmy thing, where it'd be like, and then it would just for about maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and then go smooth again, and then that happened about 2 or 3 times. And I swear to you, in my ear, I heard this voice, and it said, "Hey, Popp, if you keep doing this, you're gonna die." And that was pretty much the last time that I did the crazy shit where, all out racing out there on by the impact area. I did continue to do stupid shit on the freeway, and then I got caught drag racing out on post housing, which resulted in a 48-mile road march. That's another story. We'll get to that one down the road. That's a pretty funny one. So, this is about a month later. A couple of guys that, they had this guy had a Mustang, and one of his other Ranger buddies always hung out with him. And I'd raced him a couple times, in the impact area, and I did pretty good. I mean, the Mustang always beat me off the line, but once you got out, past the quarter mile, and my carburetor kicked in, and all of the extra bullshit I put in there to have a fast fucking car, I usually smoked them. But they kept doing that shit, and it is a road by the impact area. And apparently they had a 155 round detonate short, which, it was an aerial detonation, and it detonated along the road. And when those things explode, they throw off shrapnel, which basically looks like steak knives that are about a quarter of an inch thick, and they just litter the ground. Well, a couple of these pieces of metal had stuck into the blacktop, and they were out doing their deal. They were probably somewhere over 100 miles an hour, and they shredded 2 tires on the side of their car because they went over that shrapnel, and that was all she wrote. They lost the fucking tires, and immediately the car went sideways and started rolling. Both people were ejected from the vehicle. The driver, because I spoke to him, they both didn't die, but the driver basically was ejected from the vehicle, was floating above the vehicle as it was rolling. The passenger side door stayed closed, but on the next roll, his passenger came out of the fucking vehicle. All right, and they were both in the air, but the passenger was not as high. The vehicle rolled again, and the way they explained to me, it was hilarious. Rolled again, and then the lower guy got swatted by the door, clear of the fucking wreck, and then the other guy came down and just missed falling back into his own car, but missed it by like 6 feet, hit the ground. He rolled, and then the vehicle continued to do their deal until it was utterly destroyed. Engine was ripped out, transmission was fucking separated from the block, tires. It was just it was an absolute write-off. Now both of these guys one had a broken leg, and the other one had like a broken foot and like a fractured pelvis, hairline fractures. Wasn't like totally fucking broke clean. Through and through. But they were both so fucked up that they had to low crawl together. All right, they took off their belts and strapped their legs together, one leg at least, and they did like the 3-legged walk down. It was like 4 miles to the main MSR and got picked up by the MPs, and then they got taken to Madigan. And they told me the story, and the doctor was like so lividly pissed at them. He's like, "You both should be fucking dead. And you would be dead if you weren't Airborne Rangers and only 20 years old. You should be dead." And he kept saying that. But, it is what it is. He lost his car. It's a complete write-off. I don't know if I think his insurance picked up some of it, but whenever you do bonehead shit, you're going to have to pay bonehead prices. And that was pretty much it right there. Both of them recovered fully. I don't know what happened to them after that. I don't know if they went the ETS or got reassigned, but it was a funny ass fucking story, and I'll never forget the fucking day when they came back from the hospital. They were pretty fucked up. They were pretty fucked up. Okay, there's another one. When you're back then in the Ranger Battalion, it's pretty much any military unit, you have CQ, which is the guy who's in charge of quarters. He's basically the stand-in for the first sergeant and the commander when they're not there during the day. And what he says goes. And then you have staff duty, who is the NCOIC of the battalion complex when the battalion commander and the sergeant major are gone. So I was on staff duty. I was as the runner. Basically the staff duty NCO just said, "Hey, check on this, go do that. I got a call from these guys, go find out what the fuck's going on." So you spend most of your time running around. So this one particular night, it was November-ish. I think, it was November. It was after Halloween. And at Fort Lewis, it gets cold, but it's not like freezing cold. It's more like a hypothermic, get wet kind of cold because it rains all the fucking time. And I'm coming out of the fucking battalion, building, and there's like little commotion going on over by the flagpole. So I'm like, I go over there to see what's going on, and these Rangers, their Alpha Company, are making this one noob they're trying to get him to climb up the fucking flagpole. Of course, it's cold, it's raining, the kid, he's able to get up about 8 or 10 feet, and he's slowly sliding down, and you can hear the guys fucking, "Get on the fucking flagpole, you're not done until you touch the truck at the top," which is the ball at the top, they call it the truck, in case you didn't know that. So I walk up there, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" And they're like, "We're just fucking around." Well, at this time, the guy slides down, because he's at muscle failure, plus he's cold, and muscles don't work as well in the cold. And that part of the flagpole where they fucking put the rope on, and it's like a little half an anvil, and it's got like this little metal thumb thing that sticks up? Well, the kid slid down, and he was in his PT uniform, and that went right up his fucking ass. All right, so now he's screaming like a stuck pig. All these other guys are laughing so hysterically, they can't push this guy up to get him off the goddamn flagpole. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to fucking intervene in this fucking craziness. So I go out there and I push the kid off. He's fucked up. And he's bleeding out of, you guess it, his asshole. It was a fucking bad situation. It was a bad situation. So we call this guy a cab, we throw a blanket on him. And I think somebody from his company went with him to Madigan to get himself unfucked. So actually gets his asshole stitched up, because that's pretty much what happened. So I go in there back to the staff duty and I explain to him the thing that just fucking happened. And he's fucking like, oh, fuck, man. Oh. And sure as shit, the next morning when the battalion commander came in, I could hear him fucking kicking over his garbage can, fucking flipping the fuck out. He comes out and he's like, how the fuck do I have a fucking ranger at Madigan getting stitches in his asshole? And I'm just like, some crazy, I don't know. So I had to explain the whole fucking thing to them. I don't know what happened to those guys, if they got fucking kicked out or smoked, or I don't know. But I remember when I was walking that guy to the fucking cab in the blanket, I'm like, look at him, I'm like, Ranger, you're never going to live this down, bro. I'm just telling you right now. You're never going to live it down. Of course, that's probably not the best thing to tell a dude, but it is what it is. All right, now, here's another, again, this is Alpha Company. And for whatever reason, the Rangers, the second bat, especially the guys from Alpha Company, didn't play the fucking Bloods and Crips game, period, at all. There's none of that shit, okay? They fucking hated them. I don't know the whole fucking deal, but apparently, I know part of the deal. Along, in the Tacoma Mall back in the day, there was a store that had long since closed down. And what they do is they put up like a wall to cover the glass so people don't break the windows or whatever. And along this wall, you'd have all these fucking gang fucking boneheads hanging out doing stupid shit. Well, apparently there was an altercation. There was like 3 Airborne Rangers, and they basically got into a really fucking bad fight with basically, I think, 18 to 20 of these fucking guys. And they were severely injured, beaten, and all of them had to go to the hospital. Now, I went to the fucking Tacoma Mall pretty much, once or twice a week since the entire time I was at Fort Lewis, because it was really the only mall in within driving distance you could get to that was actually big enough to hang out at and had enough stores and shit to do that, was entertaining. So after that happened, the gang dudes, they were fucking gone. They just quit hanging out there because they knew fucking there was some bad shit coming down the pipe. And I lost track of the whole thing, and it was maybe 4 or 5 weeks later. I went down to the Tacoma Mall Saturday. I went by the 31 flavors, got myself the double chocolate 31 flavors chocolate fudge shake, and I'm just doing my deal. And I noticed that the fucking gang fucking dumbasses are hanging out at the wall again. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's going to be some ramifications because they beat up some Alpha Company guys, and Alpha Company's really not going to take that too well. And I was absolutely correct, because about 35 minutes later, I saw some other Rangers, and they went up to the telephone booth, there was a bank of phones. We didn't have cell phones back then, and they called back to the fucking CQ at Alpha Company. And, I think I went to a couple other shops. This was like a half an hour later. Apparently, there was like 60 dudes from Alpha Company decided to show up. So they blocked the entrances to the mall. They blocked the driveways to get into the mall. They basically choked the fucking mall off from any outside help. Before they sprung their attack on these fucking douchebags who obviously didn't have a fucking lick of situational awareness, because I saw the whole thing. I saw them the Rangers block off the one exit on this side, the exit over here, and then there was a little picket line so people couldn't run into Sears. And then, they slowly filtered in, and then all of a sudden, they were fucking a half moon, and they were blocking in about 25 of these fucking gangbanger dudes. And it was like 3-on-1, They literally throttled these guys I don't even know, maybe a couple of them died. They were fucking, they beat the fucking shit out of these guys. And I sat there the whole time just going, holy fucking shit. Wow. I mean, it was very efficient, you know. You want to, you know, beat down some motherfuckers. I mean, that's the way to do it. And, you know, and then they just were gone. They just disappeared. And, you know, and all that was left was the carnage. I mean, they were double stacking dudes in ambulances. It was like, you know, it was like a traffic jam of police cars and ambulances to get these fuckers to the hospital, you know. And everyone knew that, you know, these guys were gangbang pieces of shit. You know, they're fucking, they caused all kinds of trouble. You know, while they were gone, there was no problems at the mall. And then, you know, whenever they're around, there's always there's you know, shoplifting and other vandalism and other fucking forms of violence going on. So nobody was really in an over enthusiastic mood to fucking say anything. And neither was I. So I remember I saw the whole fucking deal, and I went back to the barracks, you know. Fuck that, you know. They got their asses fucking beat. Okay, and then yeah, and you can actually find this. It was actually, I think it was in Time or Newsweek. And this happened, I think, 4 or 5 months later. One of the NCOs that was in headquarters had purchased a house in Tacoma. He got it for like $500. And he got to keep the house as long as he just agreed to live in it for, I think, 2 years and rehab the property. So that's what he was doing. But he had a problem because across the street from him there was a crack house, because crack was a big thing back in the day. The crystal meth wasn't even on the scene. And he had traffic all day and all night. You know, people pulling up, and they'd walk out, and they're fucking selling shit right there in front of the fucking his house. So he sets up a video camera in a window on the second floor, you know, filming the whole fucking thing. And he's turning it into the fucking cops. Well, one day, I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, he comes back from work, about 5 o'clock. There's like 3 or 4 of these guys throwing fucking rocks at his house, trying to fucking take down this camera. Well, he gets out of his fucking car and monkey stomps these 4 guys, because, you know, they're not in shape, and it is what it is. You know, basically runs them off. And they tell him, like, hey, we want you and your family out of here by Saturday, or we're going to come over here and we're going to kill everyone in this fucking building. He's like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for the warning. Well, one thing leads to another. And I wasn't personally there for this. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. But my shotgun was there, because I had a friend of mine who's like, hey, Popp, I'm going to the shootout. You know, I need a gun. Can I borrow your 590? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I had it in the arms room downstairs. In fact, I had my own locker of guns in the arms room downstairs, which me and the commander talked about a few times. But that's another story. So the way it went down is, you know, Rangers from all of the fucking companies went down there. I think there was maybe, you know, between 30 and 60 guys, because it went on. It was basically a picnic that went on all day. It was a barbecue. So these Rangers are barbecuing, drinking beer, listening to music, doing their deal. They'd even constructed, you know, hasty fighting positions on the edge of the front yard, you know, and they had sector stakes, and they're all doing their deal. And somewhere between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, I think it was, like these, maybe 5 or 6 of these gangbangers came out. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. And like one of them decided to take a pot shot at the Rangers from across the street with a pistol. I don't even know what kind of pistol it was. But all of a sudden, or between 30 and 60 Airborne Rangers, professional soldiers, all of them probably expert marksmen, machine gunners, what have you, all of them had a rifle or a shotgun. And for about 5 to 6 minutes, there was a free-for-all. The gangbangers ran around the side of the house, but that didn't stop the Rangers. They just kept shooting. And they fucking filled that house full of so much fucking lead. They basically, you know, ruptured every pipe, broke the toilets, shot out all the windows, filled the walls with so many fucking holes that later on the house was condemned and torn down. The cops wouldn't even come down the street. You know, they just stayed, like, it was like 2 blocks up until the shooting stopped. It went on it was sporadic after the main wave. I think one of the gangbangers got wounded. I don't really know the deal. Nobody got killed, which thankfully is neither here nor there. But you know, after it was over, the Rangers are like, hey, you know, somebody's got to stay back here and take the rap. So who's getting out of the Army? Who's retiring? So I think there was like 5 or 6 guys like, yeah, I'm ETSing in 2 weeks, or yeah, I'm retiring in a month and a half or whatever, you know, or I'm ETSing in 6 months. I'll handle it. So when the cops show up, like literally the cop is like, so let me get this straight. You 6 guys fired somewhere between 6 and 10,000 rounds of ammunition at this house with calibers of weapons that aren't even here. You 6 guys did that. And they're all like, yes, we did. Yep. Now, nobody got charged. Okay. I mean, there was some yelling. There was some harsh talking tos. But it is what it is. I mean, I really don't know what the fuck you're doing. I mean, you're out of your goddamn mind. You want to fucking, you know, do some stupid shit like that. And you guys can look that up. That really did happen. So I'm not fucking lying here. Anyway, you guys have a good evening, and don't fuck with the Rangers or the Green Berets ever, even when they're old. Take it easy.